Hi everyone, this is Doc Angie, and to this week 2 of my New Beginnings challenge, I'm looking at backgrounds and foregrounds. And I wanted to demonstrate at first what I meant about backgrounds and foregrounds. So I made a frame, and I'm going to show you how to make a frame right now using a piece of cardstock. What you want to do is cut it into 4 pieces. 4 equal pieces, so I'm folding it so I can get close to equal pieces. And I'm going to cut it. Or you could use a ruler to measure 4 equal pieces. And it doesn't have to be any particular color. I just used a colorful piece of cardstock I had because it's easier to see. From these 4 pieces, I'm going to create a frame. Using some tape. Notice how I laid the pieces out so that the one is taped to the end of the other, so you could get the maximum square in the center. That doesn't really matter as long as you have some open space in the center. The reason why you're creating this frame is so you can see the concept of background and foreground. Okay, now that you have your frame, and it's also called a viewfinder, you can apply it to identify your background and foreground, as I wish to do. Also, it helps you to place or stage or position what you want to draw. Here's an example of a picture that I might consider drawing, or you could use also this viewfinder out in nature. But suppose there's so much background on this, and the subject matter is right here. Maybe I'd like to position the penguins more in the center, you know. But let's first talk about background and foreground. The background you can see is the sky, the ocean, the shoreline, the beach. And then in the foreground, your subject are the penguins. So this viewfinder or frame is going to help you see how to stage or position your subject into, so that you can see it. Also in life, rhetorically, you have background and foreground. What is right there in front of you versus what's going on behind the scenes or in your background. Background could be background music, background noise, background events, background circumstances. Background circumstances could also be going on. So you could also write about it. When you think about a story, what's going on in the environment, in the background, and the what is the main storyline or the plot line. So maybe if you're doing a period piece, a historical period piece, the background might be the Civil War of the 1800s of America, and that would be the background time frame. So everything would be, the setting would be the background, and the foreground would be the actual events happening to the characters of your story. So background, foreground has a lot of applications, not just to artwork, but to a lot of creative pieces. When you're plating up food and presenting it, you have the plate, which would be the background, and the foreground would be the actual entree or dessert. And maybe you want to have some things to place your entree or dessert on besides the plate, maybe some garnish. So it has a lot of applications in various art forms and creative work, in stage production, in dance, music. Think about what's going on in the background and what do you want in the foreground. In music, maybe the driving beat of the drum might be in the background, as well as the bass guitar, but maybe the foreground are things like your piano, or maybe the vocals, or a flute, or a voice. So there's a lot of things to think about in your creative works when it comes to background and foreground. So that's my 2 cents, and I hope you enjoyed this. And I'm going to, the next video you'll see will be me doing some artwork with keeping background and foreground, and exploring these in this week for the challenge. All right, have fun.